Another session with the Paintology drawing app to make interesting and fun drawings right on your mobile phone and using just your fingers. So as you know, the app, the way I draw is using this Samsung Note 10 phone that I have. I think it's like 6.2-inch screen. Nice, good screen, but you could use any. I've drawn with a 5.8-inch screen, even smaller. So you and you'll be surprised what the impressive drawings you can make. And what we have here is this is the app, and you can download it from the Google Play Store. You can see here, these are the drawings that you can make. I actually show some of the good drawings, but it's just to inspire you to get to this level, which is not that hard. Just to prove to you that you don't need talent to draw. You just need to learn techniques. This is unfortunately one of the missing components of good drawing, which applies to all art mediums, are developing the techniques. And what are techniques? You probably heard of core skills in art fundamentals. They originated in the traditional mediums for charcoal, pencil, colored, pastels, even watercolors, oils, you name it, and they have been an essential training on the requirement for good drawing and painting. And this is the fundamental philosophy of Paintology app, because most of the other apps will just throw you hundreds of tools and brushes, layers, blending, and everything, and it takes away the essence of developing core skills. And if you have the core skills and essential skills, you'll be able to draw like this, for example, because the blue moon, apparently, I don't know if it's in your part of the world, the super blue moon appeared. There was talk on the news yesterday, and I thought, okay, let me spend about half an hour making a drawing. So I looked at pictures of a moon, and then I looked at pictures of landscapes, and then of course, the blue color is what is the driver for this drawing, and it was done really rapidly. In fact, I think I might have posted it on the YouTube channel. So just keep in mind, I have two YouTube channels. One is the Paintology itself, and that obviously drives users through the aim of the app. But this one also, that's the Paintology which I have, which I'm currently on, and then the other one is Produce channel, which has been designed to. The Produce channel has been designed also with the drawing of the art using the Paintology app as well, and that will show some probably more advanced techniques. But I've realized that drawing on the phone is so easy with the fingers that I've just continued to use my fingers and draw and make drawings for both channels, similar drawings. So take for example this one I drew. This one is of my daughter having an ice cream. And the idea behind that was block coloring, and then a technique that I'm slowly maturing, which I want to show you, makes rapid drawings. This one maybe an hour or so, and then while I was I think focused on this drawing. I wasn't giving a live tutorial. So it starts from essentially block drawing, which you understand the way it works is using the trace method of drawing. And I'll show you again so I can show you how this works. So you got the block drawing, that you make first pass, and this is the drawing process. You pick the colors essentially and then put down the colors, and then look at that. I mean, most people will throw their arms up in the air and say, no, that's how far I can get. And that's what typically majority of people who want to enjoy the benefits of drawing are missing out. They'd look at the first drawing and that's it. They've drawn a line and said, that's it as far as I can go. And I know if you can keep going without the tools, remember all my tools, take a look at this drawing here. I was quite surprised I was able to produce this drawing in one sitting with the famous Morgan Freeman. And then again, it was a combination of block coloring, and towards the end, I was alternating between the reference image and my drawing. And I found the more I do that towards the end and trying to improve my drawing, I'm able to achieve better results. And this is when I say I'm maturing my techniques, yeah? So let's go and see if we have more drawings. Yeah, this one you may have seen. It's another drawing I did in one of the live sessions, so you can check that one out. So just please keep in mind that I'm not asking for any payment of any kind. I'm doing this purely for the love and joy of art. But more importantly, I am trying to get others to encourage others to draw art on their phone, use their phone as a powerful medium, and it's not about the tools. If you have used the app, you will know that it isn't lumbered with layers, blending, blurring, all the tools that you're familiar with the other digital apps. And sorry to say, but those are not going to make you a good artist. The techniques are going to make good art. If you don't believe me, just share this drawing with anyone on the digital art scene and ask them how it was done. It was. I actually did something very similar on Quora. I'm a very active user on Quora, so please check it out. And then it was so surprising. I said, "Can you tell me what medium I used?" And they said, "You must have used acrylic paints for the chrome." This was a car I made, a drawing of a car. Acrylic, and then you used ink for the darker tones, and then you used watercolor, and then I thought that I have done my job. I have shown techniques. I've used techniques to draw. So there you are, a lot of drawings that I really enjoy doing, and I want you to benefit. There's a one of a leaf I did here. Look, sorry, a lips. Sorry, not leaf, lips. It's the famous actress. And then here's one that you can learn, easy one, that you can do block coloring. It's the famous The Rock, yeah? And that is, if you want to get comfortable on it, you just do something simple. There are a lot of, if you go to my paintings, you'll find all these tutorials, yeah? These are guides. These are video guides, and they should get you rapidly into, the video guides are designed to get you rapidly into drawing. And these are the many 600 or so tutorials divided into pencil drawing, beginners, trace drawing, beginner, absolute beginner, photorealistic drawing. I haven't put a lot in that. And then paint by numbers. And then I'm hopefully going to have a section on how you can do block coloring. So that's what we have when you install the app. So let's go ahead and pick something we can draw. And that's the beauty of it, is that you can draw using any of your images, using the techniques I show you. I'm not asking you to pick a specific portrait or a landscape or an object or anything like that. I'm saying if you want to draw a portrait, go ahead, take a picture with the app of your, family member, and then load it. Look, it's got camera image, so you can actually take a camera image in the trace mode. So what that means is that it will load the image in trace mode. So I'm going to go and load an image that I already saved in here on the top left. And then this is the image we're going to try and draw with block coloring. And it's a technique that I'm trying to refine because as I keep doing it, I get better and better. And just keep in mind, I haven't been using finger drawing. I've been using a stylus for a good part of the last few years. And then I'm finding my finger is exceptionally powerful at doing the drawings, and then also maturing the techniques as I go along. Remember, it's a learning curve for anyone. If any artist tells you that they've mastered everything there is, I'm sorry, they need to sit on their chair and not try and teach others that philosophy. That's a poor philosophy. It's a constant learning process, and you need to keep that in mind. The majority fail because they think, oh, I've shown you the drawing I did. They think they can get up to that level, and they don't know. Just because you don't know doesn't, you don't dismiss it as something you don't have. Because you don't know is because you're not looking towards the techniques for taking it further. And this is what I show you, techniques of art, which doesn't just apply to the digital medium, but now the digital medium is really powerful in the sense that it develops these techniques of tones, which you probably heard a lot about, but then also you can apply it to the other art mediums of your choice. I do traditional painting and drawing. When I get the chance, I will do a big canvas type drawing. It allows me to be creative, free, and work with a bigger canvas. So I use a knife. I'm very fond of the knife, the impasto technique here. So there we have this image, which we're going to do. I know it seems difficult, but if you asked me a few weeks ago, well, would I pick this image? No, because there's so much detail, and I could get lost in it. But then I realized that I'm just getting better. I can almost sense myself getting. So how are we going to do this? Well, I think what we're going to do is, I've been using the charcoal brush lately, so I want to keep it on that. Let's take that down to 80% here, around 80%. Don't tell me why exactly. The reason I do that is because, remember, this density hardness is key to a lot of the blending that we do. So the way this works is just like the blending in traditional materials. You're trying to blend two tones together, and this allows you to overlap the strokes until you get the blending you want, right? So if you're trying to fill with one rigid color, you would keep it at 100%, right? Because look, I'll show you what I mean. This is my drawing canvas, right? Right, let's go to a bigger size here. Oops, let's go to, pick the what color? I need to pick a red. Okay, look, there's just one stroke and it just creates the bold red color. Now let's go to 80% thereabouts. Yeah, look what happens. Can you see there's some kind of darkness goes on? There has to be some overlap in getting that. Now let's go right down and then let me show you. See how it builds up? That is very similar to drawing with pencil, and that is the key why traditional artists can do so much with the simpler tools, and it applies equally here. The reason why many do not choose to do it like this is because they haven't developed the techniques. Nobody teaches the techniques. All they do is show them how to use this app with all these myriad of tools, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to first, let's get out of here. Let's load the trace image again. So we're going to first lay down the tone. So there are two ways of doing it. We could actually keep it at this 80 if you want to, or go all the way. Let's go all the way, so I don't want to confuse matters. And then I'll show you how this is used towards the end to achieve some blending effect. So the first thing I do is I look at this image and I see it's quite complex. I'm not going to dive into the deer and start doing that. I look at the whole composition of this image and look at the colors, the tones. You can see there are dark tones, the reflections of the deer, the reflections of the rock at the foreground. It's a very interesting drawing that we're going to make. It's a very interesting picture. And then we have these rocks, the tiny details. I wouldn't worry about them yet. They don't actually put me off. What I'm interested is in the whole composition. And I'm looking at various colors here. Look at let's zoom into the sky. Look at that total gradient going down. You should be able to observe these things. Let me pick a brush size, yeah, and I'm going to show you these tonal variations. Color picker, remember, oops, no, sorry, let's get rid of that. Let's bring it down just above halfway. If you want to pick the color of the reference image, you need to maintain that cursor position just on the top of the half mark, yeah? If you go here, you'll be just selecting the color picker is the white. Look, it's all white. It's none of the image, it's all white. That's because your color, the canvas hasn't got any color on it, any drawing yet. So now we're going to go color picker, and then we're going to just draw that line, yeah? Now let's see, and then next to it, draw that line here, and then next to it, that, and then next, picking the color tones. And you probably think that that tone has not changed. But trust me, you'll be surprised when I show you the color palette. Can you see the color palette? There's the most recent ones that start at the top. And then look at that. Look how it increases in intensity. These are things that you're not going to easily see. And the reason, what makes a good artist is their ability. What makes a good artist is their ability to appreciate these tones. And this rapid way of block coloring is going to get you to appreciate tones. So I could use a bigger brush than that, but I think I will stick to that brush and then just rapidly pick color picker, color picker, color picker. Yeah, just rapidly do much of the drawing as I can using the color picker to lay down these tones for the sky. So it's not one color I'm using the sky. I'm using the localized color, the color picker to pick out the lighter tones that I can see as well. So that's the sky. So we haven't done that yet. So let me do the rest. Don't worry about that tree. We're going to do that at the in the middle, somewhere in the middle. So I wouldn't worry about that just yet. Right? So we have the sky, yeah? Perfect, right? And this is techniques. This is how an artist would do it. If you're looking to find secrets of an artist, it's now open bare. It's laid bare on in the digital medium, because the digital medium is so powerful. Yeah, it's so I'm now doing the mountain. It's so powerful that nothing escapes. It's got techniques. It's got accuracy to a level where the traditional was like hit or miss. This is not a hit or miss. This shows you how you can get exact tonal values. That's the reason why I was quite surprised, because I was asking myself, why did Morgan Freeman's tutorial came out so quite good in such a short space of time? And I think it's because part of it has got to do with me improving my techniques while I'm showing you each morning, daily morning live sessions like this. So I would, if you want to follow along to this, you should definitely, if you're eager to follow along to this tutorial with the same image, and I hope you do, please send me a comment on the actual tutorials that's what you want, and then I'll be happy to provide a link before I start. Yeah, so you can go to that link and download that same image. But right now I'm not getting much feedback, and I'm not sure how long I can continue this because I'd like to see more subscribers as well. So please show your interest through that way. See, notice that now the brush is bigger than the rock formation, but I'm not too worried about that. All I'm doing is just laying down the tones with this big brush, and you might have seen artists do that all the time. They start off with a big brush. They're not going to go for a tiny brush and cover this massive area, are they? It's the same techniques, nothing different. Okay, so just look at that beautiful dark tones of the rock features. Right, I'm not too worried about what these rock features are yet because I've got a very broad brush. I'm just trying to lay down what I'm looking at, what my target is trying to lay down the initial colors that's on the background. You may have seen some artists actually do that. There's some digital artists who recommend the path of going to a tablet, buying a Wacom tablet or anything. That's fine if you want to follow the route and you have a desire to become an illustrator. But if you just fancy drawing like all those wonderful traditional artists draw, then you should follow this, what I'm doing here. And don't get me wrong, I come from a technology background, and I'm a very proficient, advanced user of Photoshop, but I would not recommend folks to draw with this if they're interested in drawing. In fact, there should be a rule against using the term drawing with Adobe Photoshop. It should be called illustrating, because drawing is really what the word came from, the traditional mediums. Let's see what we have here. Look at that, the way we've done that with the smaller. It's so much fun, isn't it? It's like, and then we just put that down. And you might think, oh, funny, because that doesn't look anything like the other doing. That's the mistake you make. Because you know, from here, I'm going to take it to a level where you're going to be like saying, what? Yeah. And then I'm not too worried about that because remember, I'm not showing off my skill. I just want to show people the techniques of drawing and using their phone to do drawing instead of always socializing on the social platform. Do something creative. It's the opposite of trying to put your energy in just chit-chatting. You can do something which is fun, of course, which is important, but you need to do something creative as well, right? This can't be, and this is the perfect form of creativity. So I'm just going ahead and just rapidly using this brush, 20%. Normally I would have had 30%, but since there are so many details, and then I don't want to be, look, this rock here, just going, and I'm going across a larger stroke because it has the same background tone. Yeah, nothing different. And because of the finger, I can go really rapidly. People are like impressed with other people's skills, and they think they make it look like a breeze. And then everyone's thinking, there's no way I could do that. Well, that's really, I want others to appreciate what I'm doing, and that's the reason why I do this, is because they lose out on the possibility. Look at that color. It's so plain now, isn't it? We went from a rough terrain. It's almost like we're drawing and then we can feel the rough terrain. And then all of a sudden we come to this blue mystical sky. Perhaps that's why we look at the sky above and feel that mystic energy. So it's just like I'm drawing here, and I come here and I'm seeing a completely blended blue region. And I'm thinking, wow, this is, now you can see, enjoy the real beauty of nature. Again, on the same side here, got this blue, right? And I'm picking out tones now and then, right? Very quickly. Did we do that tone? Don't know, I can't be sure, but anyway, you can see how quickly one can lay down the first set of tones. As you draw, you get actually more comfortable in the subjects that you can draw. It becomes huge, and it's just not confined to one set of subjects, right? You might be driven by a particular subject like portrait or landscape. I'm very fond of landscapes, but I've had to do a lot of portraits through practice because a lot of the users like that. A lot of the subscribers, I think, are fond of. All right, we covered everything. Let's have a look. Wow, look at that. The first pass, and we've left out the details, right? And then that is really significant step we've taken. And you keep looking at the original, see we're nowhere near there, but we've laid down the first pass. And this is how artists go through progressively in trying to complete a painting. And we're effectively painting, as you can see. We're not using tools, we're painting and drawing. So the actual, the basis of painting and drawing, it doesn't have to be confined to traditional. It can apply equally to digital as well. So when you look at this, you decide, what am I going to do next? Well, you don't have to decide a lot, because all you have to do is now go to a lower brush. Right, so I've gone to 7%. And the reason for going to that low brush, and notice I've kept 100%, is because I can get into the details. So it's telling me, yeah, hey, these rocks are beckoning me to come over and say, come on, color me, please. So that's what we're going to do with a smaller brush, and you can see the areas that we haven't done, and you simply just color picker, go to these smaller areas, yeah, right? Don't worry about getting the exact, you're just laying down, and then you can check yourself to see if the colors have been done, yeah? Look. Okay, you can see that that's not done, it's quite dark. So we're going to add that. Yeah, coarse brush, nothing. I'm not going by pixel I'm just applying the course, adding a little bit more detail, and that, in essence, is what real painting is all about. You're free to use any other brush, okay? What are these? That's for my, but I'm basically trying to, the localized area I'm refining with a different tone. Remember, as I go closer, I get closer to the real tones, right? And that's essentially what I'm doing. Right? So tone meaning the contrast. So let's see what we have here. So this gives you an idea that you haven't done this. There's white here, so you just carry on filling in the white. You don't want any white to show up. You want to fill the entire image with the localized tones. It can be, so this is how you would effectively look at a painting. Basically, this way of looking at an image is an artist's way of looking at something, what they see, and that's really where the value of art is made. Because if you look at all the artists around the world, they're appreciated. I'm not saying you're going to become like one or I'm going to become like one, but they always have a vision of what they see, and that vision is put down to and the way I'm drawing is actually a vision of my creation. Look, the way I see this image, yeah, and the way I'm drawing. So you got that rock. You see those rocks are being formed and they're clearly being defined, isn't it? So we just go ahead, use this area that we haven't addressed here. You can see that. So we're just going to keep getting these tones, and then notice that white tone that is hard to get around using this brush, but not to worry, because you will be able to get on a bigger brush and get that right. Okay, and if did you see what I just did there? Right, let's say this one has the blue, which we're gonna do here, and then this one is the gray, right, because we picked out the gray, and then this white one here, look at that white has really been just overcome. And how do you avoid that? Very easy. Let me show you. You don't do the white, you do the neighboring, right? So you first lay down this gray color, right? Now, this is very easy, simple. That's not even a technique. Now, you look at that blue color there, and then you look at that gray of neighboring color, and then look, we've created a band here. Right, look, we created a band here, look. See that band here? There, see that little band here? We created that. So it's not like the exact brush strokes of what you're applying. Okay, and then let's see if we've got most of it down. Yes, we have, haven't we? Sort of now I left the thing of the deer, so now you can see that we've got an area here. Do we need to cover that? Can our brush fit that little tiny area, or is it too big? No, it is just the right size. And you get these understanding as you keep drawing. as you do this, you are creating more, giving the illusion of detail, right? There. And your appreciation of tones increases tremendously. So we can work in those middle section of the rock as well. Let's go to that middle section of the rock. Yeah, we got that there. Can you see it's white? So we need to fill that in. Right. And this is where you can become rapid. You don't have, you're not diving into tools, trying to see what tools are going to work for this. Because you lose on the ability, the whole process of what art should be. Okay, some people do like using the tools. That's fine, but if you want to be a real, like, enjoy true artistry, this is definitely the way to go. Because, remember, I come from both traditional and digital, and I get much satisfaction as I would. See this white there? We need to just get that white. And you may think better brush would be better, a bigger brush, but you got enough to put down the first tone. So just go ahead, put down the first tone. Don't worry about getting the smaller brush and getting right down to the details. That's what will make the whole process a lot longer and less fun. Okay, where are we? So we got this bit area as well, isn't it? Let's do that. Okay. So 7.6%. That is quite a substantial. I mean, that seems like a large brush, but it is actually quite big compared to the eventual drawing that we're going to make. Really fun process. You can never get tired of this, just like artists never get tired of painting. They're uninspired by what they want to paint, right? Look at that. This one, that's a big region we want to cover, isn't it? Can we cover with this? Yes, we can, I think. Let's go here. See, I'm picking the color tones to match this. See, there's lots of space to pick the right tones. Just this really rapidly improves your appreciation of tones, and it's one of the reasons why I've been able to get better and better in my drawing. It's like I'm shocked how much progress one can make with a little bit of effort. And you may think this is all new to me, but every drawing I pick, it's something unique and interesting, and I learn something a lot. Trust me, I learn a great deal. Right, there you are there. Look at that. Can we cover some of the white? Yes, almost. Look at that. Right, it picks up the different tones and just gives the illusion of detail. There. Look there. And then pick another tone. And pick this light tone. Okay, we covered everything. Almost. It's the blue region here. See, it's now picking out the brush of the tones. This is really tuning your brain, really fine tuning your brain. Okay, let's see what we have here. Shall we? So let's call that new. See, details coming into play here already. You see it? And then you think I'm going to jump to a thin brush and work on the deer. You're quite wrong. I'm going to actually carry on with this brush until I've done another pass. You see, patience is so important to drawing, yeah? So now I can see the white areas. This gives me a direction to go with these white regions that I haven't covered. Right here, can you see my white? Those are the tree lines that we're going to put down first. Remember, we put down the sky at the back, so if you didn't do that, you'd leave some white regions like I have now, which I didn't want to in the first place. Alright, so we got covered that. There's a sum there. So just cover the area, then you can see the whole compositional image. Right, let's see what that looks like on the top right. Almost done, isn't it? And then we go here. Oops. Actually, you know what? I am going to just cover that because that's a lot of details there. Look, those we can do at the end, right? So just cover the areas that missed. That's all I'm going through. Cover the areas of mist. And then here I can cover this foreground here, yeah? Just get that rock. There's a reason why some pictures are dear to you, you know? And there was a very interesting documentary I would recommend you watch. It was by I forgot the artist's name, but it was a document about the gentleman who did ink drawings, and then he created this story of the boy, the mole, the horse, and the fox. And it's a very interesting take on because it's sort of the beauty of that story. Even my daughter said it's so heartwarming. She used such a beautiful word, heartwarming, and it just shows the way he wrote that story was so important to him, and he had the help of so many people who were so enamored by the whole story, and then they all came together to flesh out his first story, and then it got gradually bigger and bigger, and he just kept going, and he wrote a book, and then turned it into what do you call it? Turned into a short movie. It's definitely worth watching. It's inspirational, and when you watch the movie, which my daughter and I did afterwards, I've seen it before, but it just, it can be almost tear-jerking, in the sense that thought that went behind it made sense because it was at a time when the COVID. It's actually, if I were to word that, it's actually I would say how can I put it? It's more it's it's a story that really touches your heart, the relationships you have with people around you, the people who care about you, and that really can make the difference between being lost, which the story is about a boy who gets, I'm not going to spoil it, but he finds some friends who are going to help him find his way home, right? And the home is a metaphorical thing. It's not really his home, it's finding his way. That was the whole story, is about finding your way, and there are people, and the world can be a very dangerous and exciting place at the same time, right? And and you're trying to make sense. Let's go right here, and we're all trying to find our way through the life. So it's a very heart-rendering story, and something I would recommend actually. So you might become inspired by the stories. The Queen Camilla, apparently, big fan of this book, and she was saying, talking to the author on this. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're into reading, you can take I get inspired, and then you can take a look at my book that I've written, sci-fi book. It's called Blue the Ancient Rock. It's an unusual title, I know, but I first started to write something short, and then it became a big novel. But I wrote in like 12 chapters, and I wrote it in one sitting. Well, when I say one sitting, I practically, like I was recovering from an illness, and just kept writing and writing until I the ideas just came to me and just kept going and going. So it's actually you'll find the link that I posted on the Paintology app section, look at that there. Isn't it amazing we can draw it? Okay, so here you'll find it at the home screen. You'll find a link to that book. It's on Amazon. So, this is one of my passions, also poetry, all right? One of my passions. All right, let's see what we have here. We'll continue to use this brush, and you might be tempted to move to a smaller brush, but don't be. Just let your eyes do the walking, or the talking, as they say. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Blue there. Let's see what we've done so far. Look at that. Just by nowhere, this deer is coming to life. How amazing is that? Let's save that while I was chatting away. Okay, so again, do that there. Just pick up the tones. The color picker always. I'm picking picker. In fact, when we were driving back from a friend of ours, my daughter actually picked out a function on the app that we could. You'll be surprised with the strangest places the ideas come about. And she told me a feature of the block coloring, because she was doing drawing, and then she told me about it, and I thought, my goodness, that is such a brilliant idea. So I'm planning to implement that pretty soon, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, you can continue to enjoy this journey, but the whole idea is that journey of drawing will be improved more significantly as we keep drawing. So this has come a long way. In case you want to know the history of Paintology, it was developed many years ago by me, and when I saw how digital drawing was becoming a big thing, but I sort of stubbornly adopted to keep the tools down and to show techniques, and then unfortunately nobody really understood it, and then it fell on the wayside for a good part of maybe like 7-8 years, and then I decided there was time to respark. So like 2019 is when I started to really ramp up the app, and that's when I saw, probably around the time when I was into painting and drawing. So here we have what we have here. And now we can carry on doing this, but let's look at it. What we have. See, not that different. You're probably itching me to go to a smaller brush, but you can see there's a lot of areas to cover. And why do that? And get rid of these little, get rid of all these little marks here, around here, right? Let's get rid of this and see what happens. And then we'll get to it, okay? I promise. All right, don't rush thinking you know what you're doing, especially if you're a beginner. Just work. We missed that, didn't we? Okay. What do we have here? Okay. Okay, so we got this. The deer is beginning to shape like a deer. And then let's do these rocks. And then we can look at this drawing again, okay? Let's do that. Take that blue, which we have here. All right. Just fill that. Right there. Because we used a very broad brush, remember that. Now we're just cleaning it up. So now we have this rock here. Keep changing the tones, right? Giving it shape. And the reflection is a rock. And then you see the light is hitting that. Then we probably haven't got the right, but don't worry about that. That's just, we can get that to the detail. Right, so that's the rock, and then look around the deer here. Let's fix that, okay? So it's giving you direction, because in case you're saying, no, I can't go beyond this, I'm just showing you, yep, you got it wrong. You can't go beyond that. This is how you do it. So if you've always convinced yourself you can't draw, then you'll know that you might have been eluding yourself. All right, there. Get that, and then stubbornly stuck to this brush, yeah? There, I can see it on that side as well. So we can go around. So notice how I sort of stick to the same brush stroke. I was getting a different color. I picked a different color, I think. You can see that the color changes. You're adding tone values to that. Never in history have we had technology that will propel us to drawing with such speed. And I'm not talking about tools, I'm talking about the ability to use the tools effectively to create these techniques I'm showing you. All right, let's see what we have here. Wow, taking shape here, isn't it? Can you see that? And now can you see that as you've made this drawing, let's save it. As you've made this drawing, what's happened? You've basically taken it to a level where you can now continuously, progressively work to the next level. And I can see right away that, first of all, we used the white that wasn't touched as a guide. And now we can see that as we keep improving in some areas, the other areas look bad. This is something that I'm going to tell you in painting. And then that's what spurs artists to keep on improving. And so here, look, I can see that's like sticking out like a sore thumb. So just do this. Pick the adjacent color, right, using the color picker on your side. Now I'm tending towards more. I'll be going towards more and more to my drawing because that's what we're interested in, isn't it? To refine your drawing, not the drawing of the not the reference image. The reference image was just a foundation for putting down. Look, I'm just sticking to my side, and that's a mountain top, yeah. So don't get rid of the mountain. Remember, we have a mountain range there. All right, so here, and then we see this slight little path here, right? What is that? Okay, let's just diminish this path. And maybe, since it's been sitting there for a long time, we will only address it when we get to it, okay? We'll get to it with a smaller brush. Same here, yeah? So again here. So you see how I've sort of toned down the sky to make it look more appealing, like smooth. And then here, see the difference here is that there's a little bit of cloudiness. Look at that. It's not cloud actually, it's a mountain range. So you can see that. So we'll try and bring that into the picture. But for now, let's see what we have. And we have something very interesting. It doesn't actually, looks like an animal, but we can't tell if it's an animal that, excuse me for 1 second. All right, so I've just returned, and let's continue with this. So, there are several ways to go around this, and this is important. You need to decide how you're gonna do the next step. And I'm thinking the easiest step, and to demonstrate it to you, is to do that mountain range. Yeah, look at that mountain range, this beautiful mountain. So this is what so again, I'm trying to pick up this color, right? And then drag it, okay? And then what do we have here? We go, and then we have, let's see if we can create the first. Remember, I haven't actually, look at that beautiful mountain range, right? And then I'm just creating the outlines of this mountain range. and then we can go to the next step. Yeah, now it's beginning to look like there was a mountain range here. And so let's bring that mountain range. Let's pick some tones and let's see if we can flesh out what this mountain range looks like, just following the tones. We're not doing anything that you wouldn't typically do in block coloring. Just picking out, mountain range has these ridges and light colors. Let's see if that has an effect to it. If it's not, we will change the techniques. Yeah. All right. There's a peak there. Look at that lovely peak right there. All right. This just picking up the tones that are typical of this mountain range, and let's see if it makes a difference. It does definitely add difference to it. And let's look at that, beautiful. It just gradually just dips, and there's that ridge here. Can you see that ridge, that color? Ooh, beautiful. Let's take that ridge and take it along there. There you are. Let's see. Wow, look at that. Just added so much, just little effort added so much to this, the whole of that sky, isn't it? Just a tiny effort. And then we can go here. This is something I'm learning, and then I know that I could use that for my next. Just picking up these little, doesn't have to be detailed, just picking them out. Right, and then so it's the same color. The reason I'm using the color picker, haven't changed anything, is because I'm picking out these tones that are representative of this mountain range, yeah? And then whatever the tones I'm using will be true to that background color, and it's going to show you the depths. Look at that, see? Just a little bit of effort. And notice did I go down in brush size? I might have. So now, again, finish that tree, right? And we could do it by freehand, but so the mountain now makes sense. It's getting lost with the sky color, isn't it? That's what gives it beauty. And if you've ever looked at a mountain, you will know the backdrop, how gorgeous that can be. All right. So look, the trees have these darker areas at its foot, and so we can add that. Right, and there. Let's see. Wow, that looks beginning to look like a tree, isn't it? Just a minimal effort. Just a little bit of minimal effort. Nothing. Right there. Let's see. Yep, that looks like a tree. And now let's do the perimeter of the landscape. Yeah, let's go ahead, stick to this brush and do the perimeter of this landscape, isn't it? If I go towards a smaller brush, then I'm going into creating like a photograph, photorealism, and my way of drawing photorealism is very different to many others. I sort of have this free form of drawing, like I'm showing you, and then I would do it as fast as possible because I'm all for speed. So let's do that. Look at that. Now you see I'm paying more. My training has told me to pay more focus on the details that matters. And that's what I'm doing. And perhaps that's what I did with the Morgan Freeman drawing. And that's what made it just with minimal effort. So this is all minimal effort. It's quite surprising. There are a lot of people who come, not quite, but there's been a few users who come and don't understand the full story, and then they say, oh, the Paintology app has not got any tools, hasn't got pressure sensitivity, hasn't got layers, and then it would, it's not very funny, and then they would say, although there have been some great drawings, but they must have taken ages. So it's really funny. I hope this can change their thinking. It would take you ages, believe me, if you were to jump to tools to do this, right? Okay, so remember what I said I was going to do? I was going to show the horizon of the landscape scene, and that's exactly what I'm setting out to do, and I'm going to show you if that makes a difference. Okay, let's see if that's made a difference. Yep, that land is coming out nicely. Very nicely. All right, and then I can see some effects that I can add here. And then still sticking. I'm trying something different. I'm not trying to use the same tones that are there and just pulling it off. Giving the illusion of detail at the back. So still, you remember this looked plain when you looked at that? You probably don't recognize it, but look, there, look, there. You can see it meant there. Just picking those tones where it matters. There, you see, because we had a bigger brush, and we're just now covering. So let's see if that's going to make a difference here, and it should. That brown effect. So this is actually a lot more towards tonal balance. You can see now the horizon has kept. You can see the horizon has kept is more in tune, in line. Now you can see that, yeah? You can see there's some kind of the horizon. And now let's since we're here, oops, that's the great thing about digital, isn't it? Since we're here, let's finish this tree and see what we can do with this, right? I might adopt a different technique, but don't worry, I'm going to tell you what I do if I move in a different direction, right? What I'm doing is just outlining this, outlining the shape of this tree. So adding more volume, that makes sense, because it didn't have any volume as such. And see if that makes a difference, right? Really rapid, because remember we haven't addressed these with the smaller brush, and so I'm still sticking to the the tones here. I would adopt a different method, but I've decided that this one I'm going to test out with you guys. Sorry if I'm treating you like a guinea pig, but believe me, it's a learning process. Right there. This is the bigger print. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. Look, that tree's now coming alive, isn't it? So you know what I can do, because that area of the perimeter is too. I'm going to actually add a little rigid there, and then see if that makes sense. Just to show that perimeter, you're not going to fall off the cliff. Yeah. So okay, here. This is really interesting. I'm learning a lot here by doing this. Okay, so now we've got that tree line, and I'm not quite satisfied with it. So how can we make it into more of a tree that sort of blends in with what we're trying to achieve? So let's take that down, and let's do some interesting stuff. Let's pick that color here, the tree. And then we've got a smaller, remember we got a smaller brush size. So now it's going to give it some more life to this tree. All right. And then do you remember it's got a branch? You remember how Bob Ross does his trees, loves his trees, doesn't he? Well, growing up in Alaska, who wouldn't, right? Right, so here, I'm just going to add that tree that on the edge. See, a double color makes all the difference. Isn't that tree? Now it looks like a tree, doesn't it? And then maybe add a few branches. Just take it a notch down and add a few tree lines just coming out. Because the tree is just not trunks, is it? It's got bits and pieces. All right, and it's at the back, so you're not too worried. It's even got trees here, right? Okay. There, look at that. Let's see if that's made a difference. Oops. Yeah, it definitely has, isn't it? So we've made that. And then what can we do? We can add another ridge here. So we can select this and say that beware, you go over this hill, you're gonna get shocked. So let's see that. Yep, added another bit of rigid. Now we keep doing this. Now let's what do you want me to do? I think maybe I feel like I'm gonna add a little bit of, because we got that brush, a little bit of that detail. Yep. Now you're not gonna run over and fall into that valley, are you? All right, here. Just now. Remember, I'm in a smaller brush size now, so you don't want to use too much of that thin brush at the back because it's so like diffused. You know it's there. And let's carry on here. Let me define these rocks, and let's see if we've got a new technique for that. Since we have the smaller brush, definitely got smaller brush here. And then let's see if it makes a difference and if we need to change something. So define this rock. Right, you can see that this is so I'm carrying the tonal values to make this drawing. I'm not relying on mixing the colors or anything. It's the color picker doing all the heavy lifting for me. Right, let's see if this works, just following that. I'm not doing anything drawing. I'm just taking some of that tone that's in these tones here that I'm trying to address. And if it works, that's what artists do. If it works, why not just take it and apply it to all the other areas? You saw I did that tree, right? I just used my sort of eyes and somewhat experience. Let's see if this makes a difference, right, to this rock. Sort of, isn't it? Although it's not there, I could feel it needs blending. But let's take the white out here. Let's increase the size. I think we need to increase the size. Remember, increasing the size, especially at a distance, gives the illusion of that's being far away, right? And it's only when you get closer that you probably have seen that being taught. Get closer, that right there. So that you can see from the brush strokes that I had a too thin a brush for this. Let's see what happens when we do this. Just really rapid speed. Right there. Look at these. Your sense of tonal appreciation increases so rapidly. Believe me, it's going to make your drawing, you push your drawing to a whole new level. And I'm saying that, and I don't make typically that many drawings. Sometimes I stop for a long time. It's only recently that I started to discover live YouTube channel, and I started doing more there. You see that rock? It's actually taking shape, isn't it? Now there's that gray color, or some white, I think. They're actually darker, but that doesn't matter. The whole idea is that you just want to see if it looks alright, just like we looked at that tree. So here we have that, and then let's finish this set of rocks using the same brush. Right? Maybe I'm going to just take it one notch up. Remember, we haven't even touched the density on this, so it's something I would typically do to blend, but I'm choosing to just go by what the tones are for this, and then just refining, and that really keys me in to what's actually there. Look at that, it's actually a lot darker than you think. So we put this contrasting image, look at that there, and then this bit here, and then there's that dark gray. Remember I'm not the highest, I'm not the picking the colors from. So here, what do you have here? So got that little bit. Now we can get this really improves what the tones that are going on. So 3% seems like a good idea. Wherever your finger rests on, you're going to pick that color. So make sure if you pick the wrong color, just pick it again, right? All right, let's go here. And you may think that it's not teaching you anything. You'd be completely wrong. It's teaching you a lot. Many, I'm pretty sure if Monet or Cézanne lived in this modern world, they would be going, wow, such tools, such capabilities. It's just they're thinking how it can increase their knowledge of tones and, you know. Okay, so let's see what that looks like, and if we can, let's see. Okay, let's have a look at that. Wow, isn't that amazing, huh? That line of rocks are now beginning to look like rock. And remember this little sort of like a alley? Oh, we're gonna tackle you. You're not getting away with it, mate. Because we've come with a smaller brush to target you. There and then there. And then remember, just keep it light. Don't go too detailed. Don't zoom in too much. Okay. And then there, and then there, and then this spot, then that, and then that. And then hopefully we'll have so now you can see how this will improve your appreciation of tones. Yeah. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Yes, those rocks are looking good. And all I can see is that if you get closer, we can touch up these regions. All right. And then here you can see there was a little of the underbelly that wasn't working. So I'm just fixing that. Underbelly meaning of the rock itself. So let's see what we have here. Yes, that is now from a distance that would look pretty good. And then you can see where I'm going heading off with this. Just working your way all the way down and then doing that deer here and then just refining that deer, and then at the end of the day you're going to be astounded with the tones that if I were to keep a log of all the tones that we applied to this drawing, it would be like it would be going all the way down below my phone, all the tones we picked. So we know that the tones add depth and image to this whole drawing. And the reason why people teach you about art is that to get the tones from a far distance object like this mountain, and then the sharper object, look at that. That's what gives it such a pleasing look to the whole image. The rocks in the mid range, and I'm going to continue to refine that, and then I'll just pull everything down really going by exactly how I'm doing, nothing odd and different. And then I hope you can do the same. And if you want to have a link to this actual drawing and follow along to it, please mention it in the comments, and I'll happy to provide you the link. And hopefully, next time I do these sessions on a daily basis. So hopefully I'll see you soon. But please remember to subscribe and set your notifications on so you can receive alerts of new drawings that I bring online. And if you're an Android user, there's really nothing more to do except download the. Let me save that before it lose it. Okay, so there's nothing more than to install the app here on Google Play Store and just use your phone with your fingers to draw. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.